Now I can say what the fuck you. Oh, no, now it's live. We made the first part.
Oh shit!
It's all good. Now we're live. All right, Rui. So I got your lomo saltado going for you. Okay.
Oh, that's the
So
best,
I'm gonna send
man.
it out via FedEx. Okay. So it might be a little bit cold by the time it gets to there, but we get you that to celebrate. We said this, right? We said in the preview that this was the game for the power wingers, right? With Galeno and Chico Conceição. And it's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened with those wingers. They dominated the flanks. Galeno was superb. And I want to say this, Chico Conceição really proved. One more time. Not that he needed to prove, but it was an actual confirmation that this kid is for real.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a lot. There was a lot at stake in this game for both clubs, and I think a little bit more for Porto than for Benfica, because if Benfica goes 4 points behind Sporting, it's not really the end of their season. It's a little bit of an uphill climb, but for Porto, if they just drop points here, their chances of getting second place is slim to none. So there was a lot at stake here, and there was a huge task for both of these wingers, for the entire attack, the entire team, but mostly in particular the attack for Porto, because they've been so lackluster and inconsistent throughout the season. They've shown flashes of brilliance, but they just can't keep it going on a weekly basis, and that's really what's been hurting us the most. We're not putting the chances away like we did in the last game where we drew. So, but surprisingly in this game, when Porto are playing the best that they can, they are finding they were finding the back of the net and capitalizing on the chances that they were given, getting that early lead and frustrating their opponent. And you're absolutely right. Chico Conceição rose to the occasion. We talked about this. This is the biggest test for him. It wasn't just the Champions League. It's going against Benfica when there's so much on the line. The pressure is on, and you need to have a great performance. And he performed brilliantly. And I think he just 100% solidified his starting spot for the team. I think it already happened, but this was a stamp on him being the starting right winger for the rest of the season. A brilliant performance and all around effort from everyone. I could go on and on about how well everyone did in this game. Even Otavio and the midfielders. There was just so many positive sides takes from this game, and I hope this continues. It sparks something that we can just go into the next game with the same energy, the same motivation, and just being more clinical. I think that's been our Achilles heel this entire season, is just not putting the ball in the back of the net. So let's see what happens. But unfortunately, the 3 points are huge, but we still are behind 6 points from second place, and even more from first. So a lot of football to be played.
Absolutely, man. I mean, what is that? 10 rounds now. There's 30 points. 30 points. It's a massive number of points up there for grabs. Mikey, we were praising the wingers for Porto, but what happened with in the opposite side of the pitch? Probably I don't want to say the lowest performance from Di Maria and Nada and Rafa, but it was not the moment for them to not shine.
They were canceled. I mean, they were canceled out. Porto was ready for them. They had an answer for everything. And the one thing I said on Rui's podcast was that I was afraid of was the wing play, because I knew how poor we are at outside back right now, without a true outside back on either side. And Galeno and Shiku just, they did what they did. And our press, we were played into tight spaces. It would come to Murato, it's lost. It would go the other way. The ball would be given up, or it'd be passed backwards. There was one play, João Mario passes it back, and Trubin has to slide to keep it from going out for a corner. And instead of letting it go out for a corner, he slides and gives it right to Galeno, who, if he had controlled it, would have put it in the back of the net. It would have been 2-0. So everything was wrong from the start. Like, there was no focus. Otamendi getting sent off completely ended the match. He that was a frustration foul. He didn't know what else to do, and he whacked. I think it was Pepe, and you go down to 10, and it went from bad to worse to worse to worse as the match went on. And I think the players believed and accepted as it went on that this was going to be a rout, and they were watching the clock, waiting for the match to end more than trying to compete. And Rafa couldn't get into any spaces. They had him all canceled out. It's worth stating that Roger Schmidt said he didn't watch video about this, that he made the same mistake Mikel Arteta made, which Mikel Arteta clearly didn't watch any video on them either, when he said he couldn't believe how many fouls were committed and things like that. He knew nothing about his opponent. Roger Schmidt looked like he'd never seen this team before. And I think he's checked out. Personally, I've been defending the guy all season, but he looks checked out. It looks like it's all getting to him. And there was no answers. There was nothing played into dangerous areas. We couldn't get dribblers the ball in any one-on-ones. It was always 1-on-2. Kokshu was not able to get the ball and distribute it the way he can do. He's really the best threat at the vertical pass. It was non-existent. There was no vertical pass. There was dumping the ball in that ended up, either going to their center backs or their goalkeeper every time. It was just, there was no cohesion. It was all across from the first minute to the last minute, just nothing going right, and no inventiveness, if that's even a word, no creativity to improve and to come up with something different. There was no plan B. It was just continuing to do the same thing over and over and over, and again got the result that was deserved.
It is what it is now. But let me tell you something. We're going now with Derek. You mentioned about the Mike just mentioned that Roger Schmidt looks like he didn't watch the tapes or anything like that. But you are absolutely certain that Ruben Amorim has that tape, the previous tape, the Arsenal's tape, every single tape from Porto, and he's gonna be ready for that time when they're busy drag out, because he's not gonna get bite. He's not gonna get bite from the very first second of the game when you busy drag out. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's still a ways off. But Ruben does a really good job of preparing his team. I watched the Benfica game as well. The Porto Benfica game as well. We were talking a week ago. It was just 7 days ago. Benfica had just beat Portimonense 4-0. Things looked rosy. Things looked good. Things look, even Mike will admit, like Mike last week
was confident.
You thought, you called that Benfica Sporting would tie, and then you were confident that Benfica would go to the Liga and win.
Yeah.
It's amazing how things in 7 days it changed, and that's just the nature of the league and these big teams. I'm not a Benfica fan, but I sort of kind of want to defend Roger Schmidt a little bit.
Okay, I like that. Go on.
I kind of liked how he's responded to the media. The media has been terrible with him. The fans have been brutal.
Because he doesn't speak Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
That's been a problem.
Yeah. They asked him. I liked how he dealt this question. They asked him, so do you feel the need to apologize? And he said no. I
agree with that too.
And I agree with that stance. Obviously Benfica didn't go in there, planning to lose 5-0. They went in there. They went in there to try to win the game. It just didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
And then there was one reporter that asked him for explanations. So, do you have an explanation? You said, Sporting played better. You said Porto played better. Can you explain that? And he said it very easy. It's just, listen, Sporting and Porto, those are the two teams that are on our level. And, they are. If we're not at our best and they are at their best, it's going to be very difficult. So it was almost like the Benfica world, Benfica nation is treating this like they just lost games to Rio Ave and Vitória. These were like the other two premier teams in the league. And to also defend it, you're looking at this past month, Benfica has played every 3 days. I mean, they had the quarterfinal with Vizela that ended up being tougher than we expected. They had to sort of hold on for the 2-1. Then they had surprisingly two really tough legs with Toulouse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just two penalties in the first leg, and that was pretty much it. And it was a hard-fought draw. And then they had a very intense game on Thursday against Sporting. That was a really hotly contested game. So heading into there was a chance that something like this might have happened. Where if they didn't, because you look at the game, it came down to intensity and energy levels. I mean, Porto played with tremendous intensity. Benfica could not match that intensity. They were losing, second balls, 50-50 balls. And I just think that there was a possibility that was going to happen. I mean, if I'm looking at it, and Rui probably agree with me here. Like, if you look at the schedule and you're saying, okay, so on Thursday I have to go to the Stadio Luz, and then on Sunday I got to go to the Dragão. I'm going to look at that and be like, oh shit, this is going to be tough. And that's what Benfica just had to face right now. Yeah. They had to go to Alvalade on Thursday, and less than 72 hours later they had to go to the Dragão. And Porto, Porto, this was a do or die game, and they played like it. They played like this was a final. And I do
battle of the bastards, right? Battle of bastards, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this game, I agree with Rui here. This game did mean more to them than it did to Benfica, and it just, this happened. They lost 5-0. But it's one game. Benfica are the champions. Benfica has players on there that have a lot of experience, and I think that they're going to turn the page. They're
the page quick, not like the athlete. They're still showing the 4-0 after the 3 days, right? But anyway,
the low point. That's an all-time
low. That was low. Hey guys, everybody say hi to Rui Giral. He's a tremendous sportista. He's in Austin, in New York. He's making a point right here with this comment. We're gonna go, of course, we're gonna talk about that, the aftermath and all the mistakes in this wasn't a cowardly act actually from Benfica to send João Neves to the press conference when you got many other players that could have done that, right? But we're gonna go now with with our special guest, with Eric. Eric, what were you in the 2002? Were you in Portugal when you won the championship in 2002?
No, I'd actually moved 2 years earlier. I moved to the United States. So
did you get to watch it? It was
difficult. It was difficult. Like every once in a while, I'd find because I was in New York, I'd find a Portuguese club, with all the oldies, and they charge you like $20, and you could watch a game. Usually
I remember those days. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah, it wasn't, Portuguese soccer. To watch Portuguese soccer was basically an impossibility, because even just watching the Euro in 2000, you had to get Atacantes Sports pay-per-view. So to watch Sporting or Benfica or Porto, anybody like that, it was like finding gold. So I didn't. It's funny. The last title that they won was the first one where I was really watching regularly. The first piece of silverware that I really celebrated was in '94 when Carlos Queiroz won the Portuguese Cup in that 2-0 game with a Jordanov brace. So as a kid, I didn't have many opportunities to really celebrate sporting victories. Going to Entes to see like Amunique win a game for Sporting, or when the Porto played Sporting in the Super Cup in Paris. I don't know if you guys remember that, and Sporting won that game. Yeah. Those were the few wins that I got to celebrate. But I do want to make a comment about something that was said. Two things. One, having Neves come in and face the media is not only crazy for his age, but also the fact that he just lost his mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, right.
Yeah.
So. And by the way, how great was that moment between Seba Coates and João Neves after the game?
Yeah.
Coates, for me, will go down as one of the great Sportingistas for his leadership.
Mhm.
And then the other point is one that Derek was emphasizing, and I think is really important. It's very rare to have two enormous games like this back to back in Portuguese football,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You have a first leg game at Alvalade, and then you have to go to Dragão to play another game. The wear and tear, the psychological weight. I'm hoping, as a Sportingista, that when the second leg gets played, what is it, in a couple of weeks? No, it's in April.
April.
In-
It's 3 days before the league game.
And then we got to play again. Yeah, we got to play.
Right. So I mean, it's such a
Oh.
great time for Sporting to face Benfica, even though they have to go to Luz. But because the pressure will be on, and questions will be asked of Roger Schmidt about how not only is he going to set up the team, but how he's going to get them psychologically up for it, given everything that happened in the last week and a half.
No, absolutely, man, and it's crazy because now I always talk to Derek, and Derek kind of brings me to down to earth because I'm so excited about the season that Sporting is having, and he told me that many seasons, like you were right there, and you ended up handed the titles to either Port or Benfica. But I think that since Ruben took over, it really changed the mentality and changed the how the team faces tournaments as a whole, not just stretches of the tournament. Okay, we're gonna win 5 games, we're gonna win 10 games. No, it's he's looking the big picture, and he's so focused on this. And I think with these signings, especially with Jokic, he's the difference maker, and no one else has that difference maker. And that's why I'm saying that they're being my candidates since day one. But again, it's 10 games to go. It's a lot. I mean, 30 points is a lot, but we'll see what happens with the Sportingistas. But we're gonna go back now to the Portistas. They're still happy. Rui. What about Jason? You talked to Jason? Yeah, no.
Yeah, he actually he couldn't even watch the game because he had a little bit of he had a derby to play himself. He had a game, a soccer game. The team that he runs locally here, Providence City Rogues, they actually played against Mike's County, Worcester County. So there was 2 derbies for the both of us on Sunday.
Oh my! Incredible.
But yeah, he was excited. He couldn't believe it when I was blowing up his phone while he was at his game, and when he got out, he was like, "What the hell did I just miss?" And he missed quite a show for sure. But yeah, I'm happy, but it was a big win, so you're gonna celebrate a bit because you're beating your rival, and it's a historic night. But at the end of the day, it's still
Still behind. Still behind.
Not that it doesn't mean anything. You're still behind, but we can't just get too far ahead of ourselves. The team has to prove that they can do it against the smaller teams because. And to be fair for Benfica as well, I mean you're going against the 2 best teams outside of yourself, right? Your 2 biggest rivals, your 2 biggest competitions. If you go into a season and you lose to these teams, it's not the end of the world. It sucks because you're losing against your biggest rival, but it's better on paper to lose to them than when, like us, we're dropping points to, the smaller teams. We're losing to Aroca. We're dropping points to, I don't know, Rio Ave. We've dropped points to some in games where we're supposed to win. We have to bring out this energy and this capitalization and everything. We have to execute in these games where Benfica and Sporting have done much better than us. So I'm not gonna write out Benfica at all. I don't think they're a done team. I think the team just lost 2 games in a row to their biggest rivals. I think the biggest response, how they're going to respond in the next game is how their season is going to go. Did Porto and Sporting really hurt them this badly? If they respond positively, then they're going to be back on track. It's just you lose these games that are understandable. The games that we've dropped points in, it's not understandable. It's unacceptable. You're supposed to demand you demand more from a team of this caliber. So I'm happy about the win, but I'm not happy where we are this season. And I don't think we're going to win the league for sure. And then second place, it's, we're still 6 points behind. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Nino, you found the most level-headed Portuguese Benfica Porto Sporting supporters I've ever seen in my life. Because let me tell you, when I get together with my friends in Portugal, most of them Benfiquistas, of course, bandwagon fans. But so I'm kidding. You
Hey, I just gave him Xanax before the show, man.
You've done well, but you can't get a word in. I mean, one of the last times I was in Portugal a few years ago, Sporting was playing Benfica, and I was at one of my best friend's house, and he's just an insane Benfica fan, and he was screaming by my face as Benfica was beating Sporting, and this is one of my closest friends, saying all sorts of horrendous stuff that would get him beaten up in the bar. Were I a stranger? So I love the fact that you have a cast of characters that are level-headed. It's a rarity.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I was just checking on these guys. I got to tell you, how did I recruit these guys? Because the funniest one is Mikey. Right? Mikey. So I was calling a Porto game, right? He one day he just tweeted me, "Hey, can you stop having orgasms every time Porto scores?" I was like, "What?" I was doing something clever to him. Then we became friends, and
we became great friends.
And I was following the Porto guys. I heard their show. I was like, "Okay, these guys are." There's something. Huh? Okay. So I messaged him, and then I got Derek. He's been following Gold TV back in the days when I used to call your Sporting the Frankenstein of the Portuguese soccer league, because that's before Amorim, right? It was just crazy. One week they were the gods, and then the next week they were just mere mortals. It was just crazy. But it was crazy. I'm happy with this crew, and thank you for joining us tonight, Eric. And I was gonna give you, I'm gonna shoot the question. I don't know if I said it on air during the game. When I said it today when I was doing the weekly review of the Primera Liga, and I said, I'm gonna ask you this, Mikey: is this loss a fireable offense? I think it is. I don't think if they don't win the league, it's either they're fighting now or they're fighting at the end of the season. But you think it's a fireable offense for Roger Schmidt?
This is where I fight a lot with my friends or my listeners, because I don't think so. I don't think you make long-term decisions with long-term consequences over an emotional reaction to a bad match, even a bad season. You have to think a little bit further out ahead, in my opinion. That's not the way they do it in Portugal. It would be a horrible time to bring. I mean, the truth is, if they fire the manager, they're just promoting the B team manager. That's not solving anything, and it's actually hurting the development of the players in the B team, because now their coach is leaving, and they're just starting to play well, and they're just starting to be consistent, and you're hurting their development. I don't think it's the time to do it. We got a match in 48 hours that we have to play well. Like Derek said, I also agree with Roger Schmidt that I don't think that an apology is warranted. What I want is not words. I want a performance on Thursday that tells me this isn't going to happen again, and that the team is still focused on what's left in front of them, because nothing's lost yet. Yes, 4 points. We need, and I keep saying that it's 1 point, but as I say every week, Sporting has those 3 points until they don't in the match they have in hand. So, no, I don't think it's a fireable offense, because I don't think that's what's best for the team. You could say that he hasn't done enough, but the timing is not a good time to be changing managers, in my opinion. We've done this before. We did it a couple of years ago, and I think that was, to this day, I think it was a mistake to sack Bruno Lage. We brought in JJ for 2 years, which set us back 5 years, and it took a long time. It took a long time to fix those problems. Everybody's getting romantic about Mourinho being at matches. That's absolutely the wrong fit right now. That he's not the guy to take on this type of a team with young players coming through. That's not in his CV. Moving players from beats, bringing in guys. He might get you some short-term results, but again, the long-term needs to stay in the picture. And if there's a change, it's got to happen in the summer. And I get the sense Roger doesn't want to be here next season. I get the sense that he wants to finish this out, and maybe they'll make a deal at that point to figure out compensation for what have been the last season on the contract. But if the next 10 weeks go well, this will all be forgotten, to be honest. So, then the rest of the season's going to tell. But me personally, I think it's absolutely the wrong time to make a change in manager.
Fair enough. We're gonna go now with the comments here. Our buddy Rui Girao says that they just renewed within the season.
Exactly. So, that's a whole other thing.
To let it go.
Yeah.
And I think our guy here, Potus, says that Potus, right? I know Petus. There's Petus Potus. I don't know. I think it's Potus. But anyway, losing to Porto is an annual loss that happens every year. That is in the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Course. Now, stay on the manager's topic and going with Derek now. There's lots of eyes on Ruben Amorim, but there are not so many on Conceição. What do you think is that?
Because I mean, again, I'm not going to devalue the job that Conceição is doing over at Porto. He's showed tremendous consistency. They're competitive every year. He's won silverware with Porto. Championships. He takes them on these good runs in Europe, quarterfinals of Champions League. I just think being successful at Porto and being successful at Sporting are two entirely different things, where, Porto has had, sustained success for decades, for the 3.5 decades I've been watching this, league, they're always a top team. So success is, pretty much expected, with Porto. Right. Now you're taking a team like Sporting that has been the doldrums, for 4 decades, essentially. And then all of a sudden, your first full year, you win a title with them, which is just, totally out of left field. No one predicted it. Broke a 19-year spell. Then you take them, you get them into the Champions League, and you actually get to the knockout stage, which again, a lot of people will look upon as a freaking miracle. So I think because he's had success with a franchise that has struggled for so long, that he's sort of garnering more headlines than Sergio Conceição is, and that's why there's there's been this spotlight on him, because he's done it with Sporting, and that it says a lot. So I mean, I do think that's why he'll be in the news with Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. I mean, what have you. I've seen a lot of headlines. But and they ask him about it every press conference, and every press conference, he gives you the same answer where he's just focused on he's just focused on the next game, and that's been his approach since day one, and that's what I love about the guy. Is just razor focused on on the next game, and we're talking about like what the press is doing, what the fans are doing with with Schmidt, and Ruben Amorim always stays grounded, and he sort of just we're looking at the Benfica situation right now, and he's like, oh well, because there's always talk on the press conferences about how great Sporting's doing, and the good form that they're in, and always asking him, oh, so it looks like this could be the year for Sporting, and he's like, yeah, right now you guys are always saying about that we're playing really well, we're in good form, but all it takes is one result, all it takes is one negative result, and then it's the other way around. And I think this week is a perfect exemplify that to a T with what's going on with Benfica right now.
Let me just jump in real quick, because I think there's another factor, Derek. I agree with pretty much everything you said, but all of it actually. But I want to add something else, which is these are two coaches with two very different personalities, and you've sort of alluded to it. And what we are seeing, I actually had just a little digression. I met Ruben Amorim in 2014 before the World Cup when Portugal was doing its training in New Jersey. And I actually was hanging out with a bunch of the players in New York, and I was having a chat with him, And what impressed me the most about him was his, what I said about you guys. He was just very level-headed, very calm, a relaxed guy. In many ways, in complete opposition to some of the other players. I mean, there was one of them, I won't name who the player is, but there was one Portuguese national team player who just annoyed me from the get-go with an arrogance that I just couldn't handle, you know. Um, and Ruben Amorim is the complete opposite. And it's been great to see that personality is what he's all about and how he's led the club. Whereas Sergio Conceição is exactly like he was as a player, hot-headed, reflexive. And I think that a lot of teams, a lot of top teams, don't want to deal with whatever backlash comes as a result of that, because you can behave the way Sergio Conceição, and to a certain extent, his son Chico. Remember when he refused to shake the hands after the Sporting game, and a lot of people made a big deal about it.
Right.
The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, and I completely agree that he's a super player. But the reality is that kind of behavior now doesn't fly in the top leagues. It simply doesn't, especially the clubs that these guys are being associated with, or Amorim is, the Chelseas and the Liverpools. And I think Sergio Conceição is a phenomenal coach. Phenomenal. I might actually say that from a tactical point of view, he might be superior to Ruben Amorim. But the problem is his personality is an enormous obstacle that he can't seem to get over, and somebody's going to take a gamble on him. But I'm not sure a lot of clubs will be willing to deal with that firecracker personality.
Right. And you make an awesome point there, Eric. And I wanna bring this up to you guys, and in terms of character, and I'm gonna give you this from Daniel Passarella. When he arrived to Brasileirão, he arrived, and Sebastian Dominguez was the star center back of the team. I think it was Corinthians at the team that he went. And he was the star of the team, and he was the captain, right? But it was Daniel Passarella, a new coach, another coach. He has a tremendous personality. And he said, all right, he's not playing next week. He was testing him, right? You're not playing. He didn't start. Okay, he benched him 1 week. He benched him the next week, and he was watching him over training, how he reacts. And then, but the third week, all right, he told him, all right, you're going to start. You're a fantastic player, but you're not going to be the captain. You're no captain. You're not made to be a captain. And that's that's the kind of when we're testing characters. And I think when you mentioned that about Sergio Conceição, that's what is many scouts, because there's scouts for players and there's scouts for managers, and they're noticing that we cannot check this box. We cannot check this box. So you're not Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City level. That's a reality. But we're gonna go now with Rui again. We're gonna go the last round on the Clásico. And other than the two wingers that were fantastic, and the defense that was just completely on point. Who do you think is the player that we're not talking about now, and that we should be talking about on that Clásico for Porto?
There's a few of them that you can mention after this game. I think Nico Gonzalez is one of them. I thought he was absolutely sensational, really setting the tone. And one of the things that really surprised me in this game is how much ball possession that Porto had. We talked about this on the preview. Mike and I talked about this on our show last week about how Porto played against Arsenal, where Arsenal had the majority of the possession, but it was very useless because of the way that Porto was playing. In this game, Porto was able to control the tempo, but also not get anything going for Benfica. They won every single duel in the middle of the field. They trapped Benfica into positions where they couldn't really make any vertical passes. And a lot of times they would just send it forward and it's intercepted by Porto. And then when they regained the possession, they were controlling it. And a lot of it had to do with Nico Gonzalez. I thought I wish he was more on. I wish he scored that goal when he had that header to get on the stat sheet, because he was just incredible. Him and Varela are really starting to get into this rhythm where they're playing really, really well. They're complementing one another. Two completely different deep-lying midfielders, and that's why they are just starting to form this connection, and it's only going to go up from here. Another player is Otavio at center back. I think he's really helped this team out a lot. Defensively, we saw it in the Champions League, especially against a physical team that plays with a lot of pace and relies on the wingers, the pace of Saka. He did really well covering a lot of ground, and I think that's also going to complement Pep as well, who's 41 years old, and he does still have a set of wheels for his age, but I think Pep has a lot more confidence playing alongside him. Pep can actually be a little bit more aggressive going into challenges, knowing that Otavio is a better defender in terms of ability. I think he's even a smarter defender than Fabio Cardoso, despite being so many years younger. But his ability to recover ground in transitions, recover on mistakes because of his pace, on top of the ability that he has, is a real it is a necessity for Pep to play at the maximum level that he can. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a like a nice linkage between those two, and also our defensive midfielders. So two guys right there, Otavio and Nico Gonzalez, really set the tone in this, and we needed this performance from these two.
Mikey, who do you rescue from your squad?
What do you mean by rescue?
Who doesn't get taken outside and get
Dronevich.
Yeah,
just Dronevich for me. Again, it was a bad game. He's the only one that didn't quit. He played till the end. He left it all out there, and like we said, he even went and faced the media, which shouldn't have been his job ever. That should never be the job of a 19-year-old kid. And then you add in, like we said, the fact that he just lost his mother. He stays. I mean, it's Neves plus 10 at this point. It was not a good performance. Even Trubin wasn't on. Even he was off in this one.
First goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed he's been beat to his near post now a few times. Sporting beat him twice to his near post. And again, Porto beat. And I'm wondering if there's something that these coaches have noticed, because it's almost like they're designing plays to go to him at his near post.
And how about that Pepe goal too? He beat him near post, and he thought he was going far post.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even he was off. So I can't even. Usually he's the one shining light, but no, it's just Dronevich in this one. But
yeah, can I just say that guy, João Neves, is gonna be a superstar.
Yeah,
that he has the right mindset. He has all the tools. I'm a huge fan of that kid. And the way that he played with just so much integrity, and the way he handled the interviews as well after the game, full on professional. 19 years old. You expect that from 28, 29, 30 plus years old. That kid is an absolute professional.
Yeah.
Go back and watch. Sorry, just
Go ahead.
I was watching a João Neves game a few weeks ago, and he reminded me of Paulo Sousa. Go back and watch some of Paulo Sousa's games. The way
I can see that.
Just his gait, everything. The way he wears his shorts, too.
Yeah.
There's so many similarities between the two guys.
Incredible. And he's the reason why Benfica won the title last season. Huh?
Sure was.
Don't forget that the last stretch of the season, those 4 or 5 games in a row, that he really stepped up. He became a man in 3 weeks, man.
Yeah, he had to fill in Enzo's role when a few months out. Finally, he came in, and that was solidified to finish out the season. Otherwise,
and even this year, I mean, he scored the he scored the tying goal against Sporting.
Yeah,
that 93rd minute.
Yeah,
and I think we can agree those 7 minutes has kept Benfica championship.
No doubt.
You give Sporting 3 more points and Benfica 3 less.
It's over. Yeah, it's over.
We're talking about this. It's a totally different complexion.
Then we're 3 points. We're 3 points from Porto for second place, and that's where the race is. If that had happened,
it would be a totally different.
That's how bad it is for us. We'd still be behind.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man, guys, it's been fantastic, man. It's fantastic this edition of Two Tuesdays, and we're gonna. I know Eric is he's a busy man. He travels. You know, he's probably going fly. Eric, where you at now? Where you at now, Eric?
So I live in Charlotte. I moved to Charlotte to
Oh, you live
do
in Charlotte.
commentary for the team, but I'm traveling. I'm in Toronto this weekend doing the Toronto FC game against Charlotte, believe it or not. And then after that, I'm in Nashville. So I'm all over the country every weekend. I've basically been living in hotels and airplanes for a while.
Yeah.
that is. I mean, I envy you, and I not envy you at the same time. At the
Yeah,
same
it's not a
time.
bad life. Listen, I live a privileged life. Okay, so I'm not complaining.
Good for you.
At all, man. All right, guys. Eric, I'm gonna invite you here because this is a prediction. So that's, I mean, doesn't matter that you don't follow the league closely. You're just gonna make a pick, okay? We're gonna kick off. Hopefully this time I won't skip games. Just Mikey, please. If you,
I'm pulling them up to make sure.
Keep an eye on it. Yeah.
All right. Friday, we're gonna kick off, of course, with the Portimonense versus Porto. Okay, so chances. I'm gonna go first, of course, with Rui. Rui, your pick.
Porto's gonna win 1-0,
Are you serious?
and it's gonna be from a penalty kick as well. Which I'm gonna go with. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to this.
Go on
Mike,
FanDuel and place that.
Give me your prediction on that one.
3-0 Porto.
3-0. Derek.
I'm gonna go 3-1 Porto.
I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna say 4. 4-1. I'm gonna say 4-1. Eric, what do you say? Portimonense versus Porto in Portimao.
Listen. I was born in Lisbon, but I'm an Algarvian at heart because I lived there most of my life. So I gotta support Portimonense, even though they're on my team. My team is Imortal de Albufeira. That's where I played my academy football. But Portimonense upset City just to make sure that there's some more distance for Sporting.
We're recording this, guys. We're recording this. All right. Next game up is Estrella Amadora versus Casa Pia. I'm gonna kick off this one. I wanna say Jesus. I wanna say Estrella 1-0. I wanna say Estrella 1-0. Mikey?
1-0 Casa Pia.
Ooh.
I
Derek?
think Estrella's struggling.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
1-1. Rui?
Going 2-0 Casapia. They've been pretty decent form in recent weeks, so I'll just keep the train going with those guys.
All right. Eric? What's your
Estrela
call?
da Amadora 1-0. My grandmother lived in Amadora, so I gotta support JJ's old team.
I love that one, man. I love it. All right. Next one up, we have Vizela. Listen to this. Vizela versus Farense. Vizela Football Club Stadium. Roy, tell me your call on this one. Your pick.
I'm going with Ferenc on with this one. I think they're gonna break their 5 games that they haven't won a game.
Like
So
that,
yeah, something like that. They've been pretty good, especially before the 5 games. They've been good this season. So it's I think with these newly promoted sides, when they come into the league, they start doing well. So I think they're going to get back on track and get a win in this one. I'm going to go 2-0.
6 games without winning. All right,
6 games.
Derek. 6, yeah.
I'm also gonna go Finance on that one. Yeah, 2-1.
Finance.
Yeah, I'm gonna
All
go
right,
Finance.
Mikey.
Got some weapons.
2-1 Farense. Yep. I can't call Vizela on my show the worst top flight team maybe in all of Europe, and then
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
they're in there somewhere. Yeah.
Hey, but don't forget about Sammy. Don't forget about the French guy. He's hot. He might be scoring a couple
That's
of
why
goals.
I gave him 1.
I want to say 2-2 on that one. Huh? I want to say 2-2 on that one. 2 goals from Sammy Ascended to climb up to 15 goals. Eric, give me your call. Your pick.
Fares 1-0. It's an own goal from Vizela.
I love it. All right. Next one up, we have Boavista Moreirense. Oof. Boavista Moreirense. Mikey, give me your pick.
2-2.
2-2. Rui.
2-1
2-2,
Moreirense.
2-1
I think
Moreirense.
Boavista are in shambles, so
They are in
they're
shambles.
just going to keep going.
Right
They're
now.
just going to keep going downhill.
Yeah.
I believe that too.
Estadio Bessa, I think it's gonna be 1-1.
1-1. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say that. I would say 1-1 too.
Yeah,
Let's say 1-1 too. Eric.
They're going to channel the spirit of Erwin Platini Sanchez, and they're
Oh, wow.
going to win 1-0. Esterzados, bora.
Good starter. Yes. All right. We got Vila do Conde, Rio Ave versus Braga.
Oh man.
Oof. Rui Girao. Not Rui Girao, Rui Pereira. Rui Girao. He's a Portista too, so he counts. All right.
I'm going to go with Braga in this one. They're right behind Porto. They're going to try to get into third place this year, so they got a lot to play for, so I'm going to go with them. 3-1.
3-1. Mr. Derek Gomez, what do you say? In Vila do Conde, huh?
That's tough because I like Rio Ave's coach, and he seems to coach these guys well against big teams.
It happened already twice.
I think it's gonna end up. I think it's gonna be 1-1. It's gonna be another draw. I think.
All right. Did I ask you, Mikey? No.
No, not
right.
yet. Anyone
Right,
know the
go,
weather
go.
report for Vila do Conde? I mean, that will change everything.
It's gonna be windy.
I think Braga need it. They're gonna eke out a 2-1 win.
All right. I'm going for a shocker. I'm going 2-1 Rio Ave. I'm going 2-1 Rio Ave. Eric.
3-2 Braga, to put some pressure on the tripeiros.
Yes, sir. Look at this game, man. Vitória Guimarães.
Derby.
It was Famalicão. Oh, I like that game, man. Mikey, give me that one, man.
3-1 Vitória.
All right. Derek?
I'm gonna go 2-1 Vitória.
Rui?
Yeah, same here. 2-1 Vitória.
I'm going to say 2-0 with a brace from Jota. There you go.
Looking good lately, yeah.
All right. Eric?
Vitória, 2-0 Nuno Santos, my boy.
There you go.
Nice. Nice. Ooh. Sunday. Arouca versus Sporting in Arouca, the Municipal Arouca Stadium. Mr. Derek Gomez, give me your pick on your team.
I've been talking about these guys.
Mhm.
I don't think that Porto game was a fluke. I think these guys are for real. They beautiful transitional football. They're going to give Sporting a lot of problems. These guys, it's all well choreographed. You have Cristo in the middle. Mojica just makes the right runs. He's a spot on finisher. They have Silla on one side, Jason on the other side. This is going to be very hard. Going to be very hard, man.
Give me numbers. Don't give me numbers.
I'm gonna go with Sporting. 2-1, and I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go 2-1 for Sporting. I support Sporting. If Sporting does win this game, I think it's a massive step to the championship.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really. That's how I value. That's how much I value Roca. These guys play. These guys play beautiful football.
Serious.
Yeah.
They're serious.
They play beautiful football. They're well coached. It's going to be hard.
Rui, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, Mike's gonna like this one. I'm going with Aroca winning 3-2 as well. So, yeah, they've been 43 goals in the league, and then their last 5 games they've scored more than two goals.
Yeah,
and
3 apiece.
I mean,
3, 4,
looking at
5,
11, 13.
ridiculous.
Yeah, 18 goals in their last 5 victories.
Yeah,
You know, they're putting the ball away despite letting in some goals. They're at home. Let's make this championship race interesting. So I'm gonna go with them 3-2.
More dramatic. Mr. Mikey, Mr. Benfica, Aroca Sporting.
I hope I'm wrong, but
Uh-huh.
Sporting will win 3-2 with a late goal to win it. Real late.
You stole
Maybe
my
even
pick,
to
man.
watch.
You stole my pick. That's my pick.
I've seen it. They're going to give up goals, but they're going to find a way. That's how they've been all season.
And guess what? It's going to be a 3-2, and it's going to be Sebastian Coates.
That's
with
what
a
I was.
header.
Yeah. That's what I see.
That's it. That's my call. Eric, what do you think?
You know, I think I've watched 2 Aroca games this season. One of them was against Benfica, where I thought they were playing Benfica off the park in terms of the movement with the ball, but they still lost. So I'm going to go with Aroca, because I'm a Sportingista, so I'm a pessimist. Aroca.
Just Derek.
No, give me a number. But you got to give me a number. Give
A
me
number?
numbers.
It's going to be it's 3-2, but Aroca scores the winner. It's going to bounce off Coates, so you're right about the goal scorer.
Oh, no. My God. All right. And last but not least, Benfica versus Estoril at Luz. Mr. Mikey, Mr. Benfica, tell me.
Statement game. 3-0 Benfica. It has to be. Anything else, and things will be very difficult. It's going to be problems.
You're right, Mr. Rui.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Benfica going to town in this one. I'm gonna say 6-0 because Benfica always has one of those games every single year where they just get like 6 or 7 nothing. So I think if I have to put my money on this, I think they're gonna come out strong and they're gonna get 5 or 6 goals in this one. Statement win for them.
Mr. Derek Gomez, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's going to be 3-1. They have to play Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, I think
look at that face. Look at the smirk. Look at that face, man. He's like, oh, we have to play Thursday.
But then the second half, Leg is going to get a little tired. Estoril might pull one back, but at the end of the day, Benfica will win. I think 3-1. Yeah.
3-1. All right. I want to say 5-0. They're going to bounce back with the exact number of goals that they conceded the last time around. And Mr. Eric, what's your?
I'm going to go for a Benfica 1-0 win, but right at the end, when the stadium is tense, people are booing. You know how those Benfica fans get when things aren't going their way and the referee isn't calling things in their way as well. So it's going to be a tense environment. 1-0 against Studio.
Nice picks. All right, guys. There was
one more. We got one more.
Well, we got one more Monday game.
We got a Monday game.
Jesus. You see? I always skip one, man. It's because what's the game? Monday. Gil Vicente Chavez. Chavez. In Barcelos, I'm going Gil Vicente.
Mm-hmm.
No. I want to take that back because I want Chavez to be safe from relegation. So I want to say 2-1 Chavez. Mikey.
2-0 Gil Vicente. Fujimoto is going to get on the board. I love that guy.
Oh, Gania, yes. Rui.
Yeah, 3-0 Gil Vicente.
Oh, Derek.
I don't rate Shavs at all.
No. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I mean, Shavs just got torn apart by Aroca. I think it's gonna be 2-0 Gil Vicente. Yeah.
Eric.
I'm going to go with Gil Vicente. What was the name of that Brazilian winger who played for Gil Vicente and then went to Porto? The blonde, long-haired guy. Was it Edilson? You know what I'm talking about?
From Salgueiro, right?
Was it Salgueiro or Gil Vicente?
You're going back to the mid-90s. I think it's
it was anyway. No, you're right. It was Salgueiro. You're right. Anyway, Gil Vicente 1-0.
Yeah, then he went to Sporting. He was pretty good. He had one good year for Sporting. Yeah.
Did he go to Sporting?
He went to Sporting.
Yeah, he's a historian, man. No,
man, that must have been when I moved to New York because I forgot about that. Yes, he did.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yes, he did. Wow, good for you, man.
1 year.
Wow, Derek, very impressive, my friend.
Hey, man, I trust this guy, man.
Yeah. Oh, he won the league with Sporting.
He did win the league with Sporting.
He did win.
He did win the league.
That's
why I said I was in New York. He won the league with Sporting.
Yeah.
The
All right.
Magic.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good. All right, guys. We appreciate it. Thank you, Eric, for coming in. We got a blast tonight. And thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
Rui, we'll see you guys next Tuesday. And maybe but the I want to say by the end of the season, right? After round 34, I don't know the schedule yet, but I'll send you a message, Eric, so we can talk about maybe, probably, most likely, the championship for your beloved Sporting.
And
We'll
winning
see.
Europa League as well. So, you know.
Oh my God!
Let's
Everything
put that
in
one
one.
in there,
Starts
too.
tomorrow.
And then Amoudin can leave. Then he can leave. Until then, he can't go anywhere.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. See you next Tuesday. There was 2 Tuesdays. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Later, guys.